Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Tom Matt Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Do my little pre-show warm-up with my brother from another mother. Brock Fletcher is going to be with us. We love these kickoff shows. We had Craig last week. We've got Brock this week. Get these really smart people to come in here and give us some ideas about what's happening in the future. You want to go to the experts, all right? So real estate trends in 2025, what we're going to discuss today, reality of real estate. Last week, as I just mentioned, Craig Stiles was here, financial fitness in 2025. This is how we do this. 14th season, we've been doing this radio program, everybody. You know what? We start with our big hitters. We got Craig, we got Brock, we got Craig, and we just let those two experts let you know what's the trends, what are they seeing, because they're both our friends and we've used their services and we trust them implicitly. And so you need to get with these really good people who can help you with your money in your homes. All right, let's get to it. My brother from another mother, Brock Fletcher. Brock, how the heck are you, man? You ready for 2025?
I am. I'm doing great. I'm certainly excited about the new year and things are going great.
That's great, man. That's great. To catch us up. You know the drill, man. 22nd time you've been on this radio program. It's like,
Amazing.
is it getting old? Is it getting old for you to do this show?
Oh no, I love it. Every show is different and
Yep.
it's great. It's actually, the times that we record I look forward to it so much. It's
That's
awesome.
awesome. Thank you for
Yeah.
saying that. No, I do too as well. It's a good conversational thing. That's the thing we do with radio, everybody. We just want to have this conversation and be a little educational, a little entertaining, and help you whatever you're doing, give you some good input. Okay, you know the drill, man. Talk about the fam. How's grad school going for Katie? Excuse me, Jenna. Katie is your wife.
Yep.
What's the haps with all those two, and then we'll get going on these trends.
Yeah, it's great. We're super proud of Jenna. She has finished her first semester of graduate school at Grand Valley, going for speech pathology, and she's had a great first semester. She's getting really good feedback from her instructors, and she's up for some prestigious internships that we hope will turn into job
Wow.
offers in Grand Rapids area once she's so.
Congratulations.
Yeah, 1 year from now, which will be December, she'll graduate. So, and then it's all real world stuff
How
for her.
amazing is that? I mean, that's the thing about doing this thing 14 seasons now. It's like you've been with me a long time, and it's like Jenna was in high school when we started. It's
Yeah,
it's like okay, we were talking about getting into Michigan State and how to start the Michigan State thing. Now she's getting ready to graduate from grad school in another, not too long. It goes by so dang quickly. That's the thing about the real estate business, Brock, and having you is not only my friend and my professional assistant for helping us with our real estate issues with our family, and of course Mikey Deadman and the whole crew over there. But it's just people need to be on top of the real estate trends and the financial trends. They're so darn important. So what are you seeing out there? Because I've got some tips I wanted to ask you about. But what do you think people need to be aware of that are coming? Because we just finished this election. Okay, let's
yep.
see what happens.
Yeah, I think what people need to be prepared for is first and foremost, it's probably going to take another 12 months to see rates like lower to whatever they're going to, like the full recovery of high inflation. And that's appropriate. And we should be happy about that. And the reason that we should be happy about it is because let's say let's say there was some major reduction in rates tomorrow that caused interest rates to go down to 5% or just under 5% for a 30-year fixed. That would bring so many buyers to the market at one time that it would cause property values to go up at such a high rate that it would cause a huge affordability issue. So a lot of times in life, like that Garth Brooks song, "Thank God for Unanswered Prayers." For those that are just yearning for low interest rates, I hope that's an unanswered prayer, that because the ripple effect of that would be catastrophic from a value standpoint.
And see, that's where people don't understand. Brock Fletcher's our guest today, everybody. It's a reality of real estate. It's our 2025 kickoff for real estate. And that's what we like to do with the show. It's just getting you guys kind of primed in January for these. And moving forward, each year carries new complexities. And so, and again, what you were saying, when I wrote my notes, were we don't really want to have chaos in the real estate market, because then it's just chaos. It's just like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. Do you have any, and this is, I'm going to put you on the spot here, bro. Do you have any guesstimate what the bottom of the interest rate drop might be? Where will we level out? Is what I'm trying to say. Well, I don't, and here's where I'm coming from, Brock. I don't believe that we're going to ever see some of the rates that you and I saw, 8, 10 years ago at these, 2 and 3% mortgage.
Mhm.
So what do you think is a fair bottom? Just so people understand, it's like, oh, I want 3%. That's a pipe dream. That's not happening.
Yeah, I really think it's the that we're going to be probably no lower than 4.5%. But really 4.5, 5% is where we're probably going to gravitate to. And that's going to happen when the Fed gets the inflation rate to 2% or below. That's when you're going to see that occurring. And it's going to happen. It generally takes 4 years to correct high inflation. And so we're on pace to see that in 8 to 12 months. And the thing that people are not, and this is what we've never had before in one of these situations, we're only dealing with like enough inventory for about 21 days. There's only about 21-day supply. And because of all the homes that were not built between 2008 and 2012, we don't have the inventory. So anytime that we increase demand, the other thing that increases is real estate values. And real estate values are built to go up at about 4 to 5% a year. The problem that we've had the last 3, 4 years is they've been going up by minimum 7, 8% a year, which is not sustainable. So when you hear people talking about the unaffordability of homes, what they're really talking about is the compound value increases that are happening yearly. And whenever we lower interest rates, it speeds that up. It makes it go quicker. So, that's actually, we would actually be better off if rates, gosh, I hate to say it, but if they stayed high, if we want to temper value and keep values consistent in the 4 to 5 range, then interest rates between 6 and 8% are probably pretty appropriate. But nobody wants to hear that, but that's actually not a bad thing.
It's a very fair market. I remember, again, Brock Fletcher's our guest today, everybody. Reality of real estate trends in 2025. I remember, Brock, when we were going to build Big House Holt, and we were going to lock in a mortgage rate of 7.5%. We were going to pay to lock in that rate. I remember this very, very clearly. That was in 2000,
Yeah.
2001. And just to date myself, of course, that's fine. But that's the thing, everybody. So get a good grasp of what Brock's saying here, because as we'll talk about this when we come back. I'm going to carry this through, Brock, because we're going to come up on break here in a second. The thing is, everybody, is the trending is, as Brock is saying, is we have to be realistic with all of this. What I really want to talk about were some of the trends that I came across were like the rent and young people and the demand. And we just talked a little bit about the choppy mortgage rates, but we're going to talk about rising home sales and modest cost increases, because you got to have realistic numbers with this stuff. What's next in the housing market for 2025? We're going to talk to Brock about this because he's the guy who knows all the answers. He went to the big conferences. You know what? all of his team, all of his team is stars. It's Brock Fletcher. I like to say the most trustworthy people in real estate. Our guy, he's with us today with the selling team of Keller Williams Realty. And you know what? I can't say enough about Keller Williams. I mean, huge company, huge company. So again, Brock Fletcher's with us. Reality of real estate trends in 2025. You're listening to the Tom Matt Show. Boom, baby. Here we go. Oh, another thing they talked about in this trends, interesting, was tech,
Mm.
tech in houses. Do you see a lot I'm going to ask you these questions. Okay, let me just do this because I'm interested to know, is that a feature that is tipping the is it making the cost too much, or is it something that people come into? I don't even know. I mean, I don't know if you get requests for that. Here we go. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Tom Matt Show. Thank you so much for being with us. However, you're picking up our radio program, podcast stream, the whole 9 yards, because you know what? Radio's crazy and the video is even crazier. Brock Fletcher's with us today. Reality of real estate trends in 2025. This segment of our radio program is sponsored by Craig, Ameriprise Financial, last week's guest. We always have the two rock stars at the beginning of the year. Always. That's the way it works with us. Ameriprise, we've got Brock Fletcher, the selling team of Keller Williams. That's our content today. Our Ameriprise financial advisor, Craig Stiles, and he is our advisor. He has all of our retirement zone savings with his firm, and it is doing really well. Go listen to that previous episode, last week's episode, everybody. And Craig tells how much our portfolio, how well it did the past year using the Desideri platform and Ameriprise's very conservative workings, and how they do that manipulation stuff. It's working. It's working. It's working. With the right financial advisor, life can be brilliant. Call Craig at 1-800-528-1355. Local numbers 517-483-4893, or call Craig Stiles. However you want to reach to him, you can email him, craig.stiles@ampf.com. Offices are located at 2651 Coolidge Road, Suite 103, East Lansing, Michigan, 48823. Stations that have carried us in the past, in the future, and have always been with us. WJHN 92.1 in Grand Haven, Michigan. WJIM 1240 AM, the flagship of the Michigan Talk Network. Thank you to Stephen Ivy Gruber for carrying us on the syndicated version. WJRW 1340 in Grand Rapids. WKLQ 1490 in Muskegon, Whitehall. WYPV FM 94.5 in Mackinac City, where Brock Fletcher, our guest today, my buddy, first heard about the radio program years and years ago. And of course, the flagship of our radio program, WKAR. They're the big one. AM 870 at Michigan State University, AM 870 News Talk, and simulcast 102.3 FM. Thank you again to Craig Stiles for creating Desideri Analytics, where we are making light of weighted decisions. Check out Desideri Analytics. Check out Craig Stiles. Just Google his name, and away you go. Trends in real estate in 2025 with Brock Fletcher. Brock, it's been a crazy couple of years, man. I mean, coming out of the pandemic, have you ever, in your wildest imaginations, could you have ever thought that the real estate market would go through such volatility as it has in the last 3-4 years? Comment on that, would you please?
So the answer is definitely no. There's been so many long-term trends that have been bucked by everything that's been experienced after COVID. And it's funny when we talk with clients and that are thinking about selling, and they share with us their experience, from, let's say, anytime before COVID. The truth of it is those experiences, they lend very little help to the markets of today, right? Whatever people understood about how things worked, uh, 2000, 2010. I mean, nothing that you knew then is helpful for now, right? The game has totally changed in the last 5 years. So, and that's not to say that there aren't some translatable experiences, but for the most part, if you're a buyer or a seller and the nuggets of gold from back then, they're not that beneficial for now. Everything's changed.
So give us a couple of stories where you could have like slam dunks here, and then we haven't done the story thing in a while, and you come across crazy things all the time, Brock. Things that you see that are going to probably continue to roll into 2025. A couple of the stories, some of the success stories that you've had, some of the people that you've really helped? Do you have something off the top of your head that you'd like to relate to the listeners? Anybody recently that you've helped?
Oh yeah, for sure. Matter of fact, one of them is a client I just helped, and I won't mention her name specifically just from a privacy standpoint, but I serve a lot of clients that are elderly, and her husband had passed. They were long time clients. Her husband passed, and she had to sell their their long-term marital home, if you will. She was at a point where she had to move to assisted living. She mentally she's well. Her health physically is still pretty good, but not able to maintain a home right anymore. And so she had to transition to an assisted living facility, and I had the pleasure of helping her sell her final piece of real estate. Very shrewd woman, good with money, everything. But what I'm getting at here is, you know, over the course of the 3 or 4 months that I was helping her, I spent at least 1 to 2 hours a week with her at her assisted living facility and sharing stories and hearing about her life and even how she lost her dad at the age of like 6, 81 years ago and what. So the relationships with my clients and everybody's got their own very real story. And a lot of what I do is obviously helping people with the transaction or real estate need, but the part that I love the most is hearing people's stories and being able to help them achieve their goals and play some small part in being a small part of. In her particular case, she's got very few people left,
Right.
and to be able to be a friend. And last week, not last week, but a couple weeks ago, right before Thanksgiving, I went and spent about 3 hours with her and brought her a pumpkin pie, and we just sat. I mean, we the transaction was several months ago now. It was like midsummer, but we just sat and talked for 3 hours. And she said, Brock, this was a really tough year, since my husband passed. And she said, your friendship has meant the world to me. And
Oh,
that's important. I like that. I like that I can be that for somebody, right? And have it be authentic and very real.
that is one of the best non-planned stories ever. That's the way, see, but
Yeah.
that's the way we roll here, everybody. And I'm just, Brock, thank you for that. That's such a, when I'm listening to a story like that, it's like it's so much more than business. It's, you say so much of life now is transactional. You hear that term, all the word, all the time. It's like, yes and no, because like you're talking about, your transaction was several months ago. Your relationship continues to flourish. And what you've brought to this, she's not even a customer, she's a friend to her life. What a tough time to, and you're in a really rough spot because you're like the surrogate son counselor taking care of very tough decisions. I remember when you helped guide us through selling Big House Holt. That was a very challenging, very, very challenging time in our lives. And I'm sure it's exactly the same with the client you were just mentioning. So that, thank you for that story. That's again why we want you guys to really think about getting a hold of Brock. We're not here just to try to push and sell you stuff. We want you to understand that there are good people in the world. And when you help other people, your life gets better. So, Brock, thanks for sharing that story. We're going to go to break here again today, this week and today. Real estate in 2025, the trends with my brother from another mother, reality of real estate, subject matter expert par excellence, Brock Fletcher. I'm Tom Matt, and this is the Tom Matt Show. Dude, that was freaking greatness.
Yeah. Kathleen is great. She is such
See,
a
that's the
nice
thing,
lady.
Brock. I tell you, and I'm apologize for spring that. I wouldn't spring something like that on people I don't know, but I know you. I know you'll pull it out. And it's like, and people, when people hear that, when you hear it, it's real. It's like,
Yeah.
this ain't no fucking script, nothing, man. This is like, we're rolling.
Sure. Well, I've got another fun story, and maybe not for this episode, but one
Whatever
of
you want.
one of our
If it's a
intern.
Well, I wanted
Oh,
to go there with the interns, so I wanted to circle back to Caleb. So yeah, if you want to share that story coming up, the tr
yeah, it's a
again,
it's a
friends
it's a
too, we got to get young people to understand that they can participate in the market because they're
yes.
getting conditioned now. They're being mentally brainwashed into thinking, okay, let's save it. Here we go.
Okay.
You know where I'm going with this. Here we go. Third segment of the Tom Hanks Show, sponsored by my guest today, Brock Fletcher, selling team of Keller Williams Realty, where their middle name is TRUST, Trust. Love it. Again, full disclosure, you guys heard me say this 100 times. 100, maybe more. 14 years we've been doing this. Brock's been on the show like 5, 6 years now. We trust these guys implicitly so much that you would want to. Well, if Brock was single, you'd probably want him to marry your daughter. Okay. Enough said there. Okay. So there you go. Call Brock 517-853-6408. I'm not kidding. 6408. That's the office number. The super secret, not so super secret number, 517-303-3262, 303-3262, is to his pocket. I've told you guys this before. Leave him a voicemail, send him a text message, tell him Tommy sent you. He'll know that. He'll get right back to everybody anyways. But the guy changes his message every day. He'll call you at a certain time. He'll let you know. He hits his appointments right on. The guy's a complete pro. And everybody, that's how he trains his people up. And we're going to talk about some training here in a second with the trends in real estate in 2025, because we got to get young people to consider real estate is a complete option here. We're going to talk about that in just a second. Sell your home without hassles like we did when Brock gave me, and that story he just shared with us. If you guys just joined us, you got to go back and get the podcast and go listen to that. We're going to have some more stories from Brock, because Brock's stories with real estate and helping his client who is getting elderly and has to do the thing. It's like way more than the transaction. It's much more the relationship, the being there with them, the spending the time with them, that caring about them, being their friend, and kind of being a counselor like my coaching stuff. It's the same thing. That's why you want to go with Brock, because you get to sell your home without hassles, people that you trust. Again, Brock Fletcher. Google his name. Go to just go to Keller Williams Realty, Brock Fletcher, 853-6408, 303-3262, or kwsellingteam.com. And lastly, our website, homepage, bottom of the homepage. That's where you can click right on through. Boom, easy peasy. All right, Brock. That story that you just finished, Brock, was outstanding. And we're talking about real estate trends in 2025. The real estate, if things stay like you were saying, and if we can keep things on a even keel, it'll even out. Things are going to even out.
Yep.
And we were talking production wise before the show about young people and how that I have been inundated with Gen Z videos because of all my YouTube stuff, saying that they can't afford real estate, and that they're so bummed out getting their first jobs, just like Jenna's going to graduate in a year, and she's going to be very soon probably getting some real estate. Of course, her dad's one of the biggest realtors in Michigan. I mean, young people are getting brainwashed, my friend, into thinking they can't afford this stuff. One of the trends in 2025 is that renting is on the rise. All right. So you got renting going. I'm just going to throw this whole thing and let you take the rest of the segment here, because this is big. First off, it's conditioning young people to understand, yes, they can get into the market, and let you take it from there. Go ahead, Brock.
Sure. And you bring up a major concern. Here's the first thing. Rents have gone up a lot, right? So to rent in most good locations, like any relatively major city around in Michigan, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom apartment, you're going to be minimum $1,500 a month, but you might even be up to $2,000 a month. So if you can afford $1,500 to $2,000 a month, you can afford to buy a home. So that's the first thing. But the problem and the solution, as I see it, for young people is, so really, we're not helping our young people learn how to save money in high school. That's the first problem. We've got to correct that. Number two, we really have to mentor and coach our young people that they need to get a job that's going to pay a lot of money when they graduate. So just I'm going to be frank, life doesn't work on less than $50,000 a year anymore. It's just too expensive. So our children, there's many paths that lead to great jobs. So your kid doesn't want to go to college, or they're not a long-term student, great. Skilled trades, plumbing, electrical, all that stuff is going to yield a job that once you're through apprenticeship and journey, you're going to make six figures. You're make 100 grand a year or more. College, we probably need to quit encouraging our young people to get generalized degrees that aren't going to pay a good wage. So like, for instance, Jenna's going to become a speech pathologist. That's pretty much guaranteed to start at about $95,000 a year. We have to educate our children that when they're selecting their colleges and when they're selecting their programs, that the goal has got to be, what does this job pay when I'm done? I mean, my dad or my great grandfather probably made 10 cents an hour, right? So like, wages and the cost of housing is scalable over the years. It's always gone up. It's compounded over the years, but we have to realize that we have to educate our young people to get meaningful jobs that pay enough money to live. And if you do that, the problem with owning real estate will take care of itself, right? So the other thing, and I'm not on a soapbox here, and I'm not being a boomer, if you will, but this whole notion that you don't have to work 5 or 6 or 7 days a week is not real, right? Like, if you're gonna make it, you're gonna grind it for the next, if you're 20, you're gonna grind for 30 or 40 years. You're gonna have all the things in life you want, but this whole notion that I can do it part-time that's never been real, right? So we gotta educate young people. You got to go to college, or you got to get a great job. You got to make a lot of money. You can buy a house. You can have the American dream. The American dream has never been more alive than it is right now. But you're going to work every day. You're going to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week to have the life that you want. And that's just what it takes, right? You can't do it on 30 hours a week. I'm sorry. Nobody makes it on 30 hours a week unless you've worked your butt off, became wealthy, and then you can tone it back if you want. But we're not educating our children and young people on how to be ultra successful. That's the problem.
Well, we're the financial literacy piece. Brock Fletcher's our guest today, everybody. We're talking trends in real estate 2025, reality of real estate. Financial literacy for our young people it's absurdly bad. I mean, we just don't. Everybody just we don't have the value of a dollar bill. Everything's on plastic. You don't learn how to write a check. All of these things. So, but the key, I think the key, I don't think, I believe what you said to really starting off that thread there, Brock, learning how to save.
Yeah.
It's it's the saving aspect. It's the compounding of saving that I've learned. I got advice as a growing older adult, in my 30s and 40s, on how to save with our retirement zone savings money, and how to use supplemental savings plans, and how to pay yourself first when you have 403bs or 401ks. All of these things will help you facilitate that life you want into the future. And you know what? Paying yourself first is the way to go, everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
you've talked about Dave Ramsey a lot. I mean, we're not going to go down the Dave Ramsey rabbit hole here,
Sure.
but hey, you got 30 seconds. Go ahead. Give him a Dave Ramsey plug. Go ahead, and then we'll go to break.
Well, I really respect Dave, and I'm one of his endorsed local service providers, but I'm actually going to go a little different direction with it. Probably the most powerful tool that I learned at a young age, and my parents were not great with money, by the way, but my dad taught me something. Every birthday card, every Christmas card I got growing up that had a 5 or a 10 or a $20 bill in it, my dad made me save every dollar. We went to the bank, we deposited it. I was never allowed to spend any money. And that is the lesson to teach our children. Save that money. You do not need that $10 thing right now.
There you go. And I got a story when we come back about my grandson and what we're doing for Christmas and how we do budgeting with the kids and how we sort of let it sneak in. You got to do this a little sneaky, everybody. We're going to give you a tip on this when we come back. Brock's here. Reality of real estate trends in 2025. This is the Tom Mann Show. I love talking about this kind of shit. We don't have enough of this kind of conversation because you know what? It sparks people's interest. All right, here we go. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Tom Mann Show. Reality of real estate trends in 2025 with my brother from another mother, Brock Fletcher. Just going through this idea of young people, Gen Zers especially, previous segment, being brainwashed into thinking that they can't afford real estate, that they missed the bus. The boomers spent all the money. The millennials, you guys just you all suck too, and it's like the Gen Z, we're picking up doing tables and waiting tables, and we can't make any money. Okay, we're going to change that whole perception here because that's bullcrap. I'm going to tell you that right now, that you got to listen to people like a Brock Fletcher. Now, Brock, you are really good with training young people at Michigan State University, and we're talking about rents and everything like this. I want to just throw some love to you and Caleb Coley for being on the show the last time you were on, past fall. Talk about that and how you're helping those people, because asking Caleb the question about buying and his friends, and are you worried about buying real estate, asking a Gen Zer like him, which I did last time, as you know, his answer was completely different than a typical non-Division I athlete, because they're a different type of kid. Okay, they're a different type of student. They're a different type of young person. The people that you're bringing in, like him, though, who are working, talk about that a little bit. Talk about your programs. Talk about people who want to maybe go into the retirement zone and maybe they want to get into your training programs.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we've our internship program has become so robust, and the funny thing too is it's attracted some non-student athletes as well, and we've got some other young people. So we're probably about 20. Our youngest is 16 years of age, intern, and still in high school student. So
Really?
yeah, past clients, child. She's doing some lead generation activities for me, helping me with my Merry Christmas calls and that over the holidays. So I mean, I'm willing to work with any go-getter, but I wanted to tell a cool. So one thing that I like to instill in young people is that they can do anything they want, right? And to bet on themselves. And so I just had a really wonderful call with one of our interns who he was the reserve kicker for Michigan State, Stephen Rusnak. I don't know if you remember Stephen or not. You maybe met him at one of our events, but Stephen got cut from Michigan State. I mean, Jonathan Kim is a good kicker, right? So Stephen got cut. And Stephen ended up taking an opportunity to play for Charlotte 49ers. And Stephen went 11 for 11. He bet on himself. He went 11 for 11 on the season. He's the #1 kicker in the portal right now. I don't know where he's going to go. He's got offers from every major college right now. This kid was a walk-on out of high school, got cut from Michigan State, bet on himself. He's a true professional. He's a hard worker. Graduated in 3 years at Michigan State. I just kept telling him, believe in you. Bet on yourself, right? Don't ever give up on a dream. He goes down there. He was like 4 for 4 or 5 for 5 on kicks over 50 yards. Went 79% touchback with kickoffs. He's probably going to land in a major, like, I mean, he can go anywhere he wants now, right? Everybody's calling him. And he's going to pick where he's going to go. But here's the reality. You can be nowhere and you can grind it out and be wherever you want to be, right? Now, here's what Stephen could have done. He could have went into a hole. He could have said, I'm getting cut. I'm going to give up on all my dreams. Things didn't go my way. I'm going to complain. I'm going to whine. I'm going to cry. He could have done all that. Nope. He didn't do that. He said, Brock, I need to try to graduate before I leave here. Can we figure out a way for me to get 8 or 9 credit hours so I can walk before I leave MSU so that I can go in to my master's program at my next landing spot? I said, yeah, let's figure it out. Let's get with the university, figure it out. He figures that out. He took a great opportunity where he knew he was going to get a chance to kick. It's not a great program necessarily. He goes down there, he kicks butt, makes the most of it. And now he's about ready with a year of eligibility left to be able to pretty much play wherever he wants and have a chance to fulfill his lifelong goal of getting to the NFL, where he may or may not make it. We don't know that yet. But he's also going to have his master's in business administration with no debt. And regardless of whether he ever plays it down in the NFL, the kid's going to make it because he's a winner, right? Because he didn't give up. He didn't quit when things got tough. That's the thing, right? If you quit when things get tough, you never get anything, right? And that's ultimately what we're talking about is, and the thing that I try to be for our student athletes and for all of our interns is the voice that says, you got kicked in the teeth, who cares? You got kicked in the stomach, who cares? You can do it, you just can't quit. And you sure as hell can't whine about it, right? No, the world is not fair. That is irrelevant. Fairness is irrelevant, right?
Right.
But you can be whatever you want, but you're going to pay the price. But I tell you what, through blessing and hard work, you can do anything you want.
The same mentality. That's another awesome story. Thank you, Brock Fletcher, is our guest today. Everybody, real reality of real estate trends of 2025, and then stories that go along with it. You know how we are around here. But no, that's unbelievably great. The Gen Zers got to have the same attitude when it comes to getting into the real estate market. To have the woe is me attitude of, oh, I'll never be able to afford this. Oh, and just accept the $2,000 a month rent payment. Well, I got to pay my rent. But if you listen to Brock, you could if you really started to drill down, just like the young man that he was just talking about is doing and working. Know what I made to myself, Brock? Talent without grinding is zip. You can
Yeah.
have all the talent in the world, but if you don't grind on it, it is irrelevant. I want to ask you how finish the thread with Caleb. How's Caleb Coley doing? How did he? I really enjoyed the time with him. It was nice to have him on the show. I want to do more of that, where you feature some of your interns on your episodes of the radio program, Brock. How is Caleb Coley doing?
He's doing good. He was been hurt all year. So he really didn't get to play. He and I spoke yesterday. Academically, he's like a 3.9 GPA student. So he's doing really well.
He's the,
And
I got to tell you, man, he's one of the funniest guys I've ever seen. I've seen it. I follow him on social media. You guys got to follow Caleb Coley. The guy is hilarious. I mean,
he is.
isn't he? He's
Yeah.
he's got a natural deadpan, and the way he does some of his little videos and they are so funny. I mean, you could just tell the guy's smart as heck. But the thing is, it's the development of our student athletes, our young people into professionals, because 1% of those college athletes, 1% is going to make it in the pros. They
Yeah.
need these skills, Brock. You know this, right?
Yeah.
What do you think Caleb Coley's going to do post when he's done with his football career?
Hmm. I don't know, to be honest. I would have to assume that he'll probably move back down and like in the Atlanta area. Um, and I think probably something business related.
Exactly.
Um, I don't know. It might be real estate. It may not be, but I do know he's going to be successful no matter what. Wouldn't surprise me if he also went into ministry because
See,
he's
this is the
yeah.
thing about giving our young people a solid foundation. What Brock's saying is going back to how we began this segment, you guys, talking about helping our young people learn how to save, financial literacy. If we give them the foundation like Caleb Coley 3.9 student athlete, I mean, come on. Like you were giving the advice with Jenna, and she's got a very specific, very detailed plan. When you have a detailed plan, when you know where you're going to be going, instead of a broad scope of study, you're going to have a better opportunity, more opportunities to make that more than $50,000 a year that you're looking for. Because if that's the program you're going for, you got to listen to Brock. Maybe you want to get into real estate. Maybe you want to have side action. Maybe you want to just go to grass. It just depends on everything that you're doing. Okay, once again, Brock Fletcher. We come back. We're going to do our fifth segment. I want to talk about some tech and real estate with Brock because, according to the all knowing internet, trends in 2025 are perhaps that there are technology issues that people are finding. I want to ask Brock about this because who knows if that's a determining factor. I think it's more along the lines of cost and availability and the dog eat dog nature of the real estate industry. But the thing about it is you need to talk to Brock and his team and just ask the questions. Don't be afraid to ask the questions. Call Brock. Call him 517 303 3262. Again, Trends in Real Estate 2025, Reality of Real Estate with my brother from another mother, Brock Fletcher. This is the Tom Mann Show. All right. Brock got some good stories today. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, it's so much fun when they call and tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, I just had a kid. He said I didn't realize he graduated. He got a job at the Board of Water and Light. Just a great guy, a Hispanic kid. Um, guy's a killer in the gym too. Just reaching out. All their stuff they're putting on social media just got really uplifting, just like Caleb's stuff. Have you seen some of Caleb's Instagram stuff?
Not recently.
Dude,
I'll have to check it out.
oh my God. He's, I don't know, maybe because I started, clicking on him, but they start following in my feed. It's like, yeah, he's really funny. He comes at it with a really weird camera angle, and it's just like it's great. People watching the video of the radio program as we're doing this, go check it out. Caleb Coley. He's pretty funny. Okay, I need your plug here, man. Top of the fifth. Ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Tom Matt Show. I am your host, Tom Matt. My guest today is my brother from another mother, another one. I got lots of them. Brock Fletcher. Helped us sell Big House Holt when we had no idea we were going to sell it, and buy Little House Lansing, where we're recording this episode today. And so glad that we connected. And that was all on Brock. I did not know Brock. We just sort of met in a hallway of a radio station, and he said, we need to chat for a second. I've heard some of your stuff, and gave me some really good advice. Sometimes you get good advice from the strangest places, from people you don't even know, and you can become best friends. That's what's happened with Brock and I, because he's a relational kind of guy. How do you want new best friends to get a hold of you there, best friend, buddy? How do you want people to find you?
Man, I'll tell you what, I really do prefer if you call or text me. That 517-303-3262 number is the best, because if you call that or text it, I know I'm going to get it. There's no chance that I won't get it. So, I like it that way. If you're not totally comfortable with it and you prefer to shoot me a message through our website or something, that's fine. You can always go to kwsellingteam.com. But I do prefer the 517-303-3262.
Easy enough. And again, reminding everybody, our homepage, go to TomMattShow.com, bottom of the homepage. His banner's right there. You click right on through and away you go. You go to kwsellingteam.com, go there as well. So there's multiple ways of getting a hold, or just send me, you could text me. I'm the same way. People text me all the time. It's like we live by the text messaging. That's how it works. That's how I send out the shows. All right. So Brock, back to more trends in real estate in 2025. I found this interesting, and it's like one of them says, is 2025 a good year to buy a house? Well, is it ever not a good year to buy a house? Because one of the interesting questions was, is it a good year to buy a house? And I'm thinking, isn't it always a good year to buy a house?
It is. That, I think that's a trick question. The reason, the only time that's not a good idea is if your personal financial situation dictates that you don't have the money to buy, right? Then it's bad. You don't want to put yourself at risk. That being said, real estate values go up 4 to 5% every single year, minimum. So if you have a need to buy and you have the financial ability to buy, if you wait, you're only causing yourself harm, essentially. So it's not a complicated answer. That's really the simple thing. Now, if you don't have the money, or if your financial situation is not stable, then you need to wait until you're ready, right? Don't get overextended and make a mistake. Wait till you're financially ready.
What's a minimum? What's a minimum down for a first time buyer? Say you got these young people. We've been talking about young people for 2025, 2026, going through the 20s. What's a minimum percentage wise down that you think is a safe? Because isn't there deals for first time buyers out there and they can get some help with financing? So, what's the strategy?
Yeah. So for the most part, if you have 3%, 3 to 3.5% saved for a down payment of the total purchase price, you're in good shape. Realistically, you should have another 3% saved towards closing costs. But if you have 6%, 6.5 to 6% of the total purchase price saved, and you can easily afford that monthly payment, based on that, you're probably safe to buy. There are some programs that include down payment assistance and things of that nature. But there's typically like income limits, like you can't make more than a certain amount of money. So every area has some little things. For the most part, if you've got 6% to 7% saved and you've got good credit and you've got stable income, then you're a good candidate for a house purchase.
There you go. It's very Here's the thing. I truly believe that we overcomplicate things, everybody. And what
Yep.
Brock just gave you, just a three-step program. Get your down, get your credit in halfway decent shape, and have stable employment. After that, you after the first year, you're going to use that interest deduction on your income tax, young people, and you're going to be able to funnel that back into your home, maybe some equity that you want to put into your home. There are strategies. Get through that first year and it's Fat City. It's the way you go. Because if you're a first time buyer, you've never gotten that interest rate deduction on your income tax, you're going to see a significant difference in your income tax return. Right, Brock? I mean, I was pretty surprised when we had
Yes.
the 7-8% for the big household.
Well, and here's the other thing, Tom, that people need to think about. So let's say you get an apartment right now and you're renting at 1,800 a month. Most apartment complexes raise their rents by 5 to 10% per year. When you buy that house this year with a 30-year fixed interest rate, and let's say your payment is $1,900 a month, that payment is basically fixed for 30 years. It's not going to go up. Your rent that you're paying going up by 5 to 10% every year is going to be drastically more in 30 years. So there's no way that renting is a better strategy.
No way. I mean, unless you are completely mobile, you think that you're going to be moving within or relocating within the next couple of years.
Correct.
That's really the only time, you guys. That's really the only time. Brock, there's another thing that caught my eye here in the trends. I'm looking at the all-knowing internet about technology. Property tech is changing everything. Are you seeing that? I mean, is that just a line of text I'm reading here? Because they're talking about, we have been talking about AI, we've been talking about big data, we've been talking about virtual reality, the Internet of Things, all these different trends that are out there. But I'm actually thinking about like technology in the homes. Are the homes coming with technology? Is that something that you're seeing? Are you seeing them all wired for all kinds of fancier stereo systems or Wi-Fi networks? What is the trends that you're seeing with all that?
I I know for a fact, with like new construction, that when they're, just like running power and water and all that, they're putting in, the cable in the walls for, hard connection for high speed internet and things of that nature. Um, obviously Bluetooth is big, right? I mean, speaker systems in that are typically Bluetooth, but yeah, as new construction is being built, yeah, they're putting in the new technology features. I'm sure there are areas of the country where it's more substantial than here. Just because of, like Silicon Valley and just, areas that are more, I mean, we're in the Midwest. So realistically, we're probably a few years behind on the latest and greatest technology when you're talking like cutting edge, bleeding edge technology. So, but yeah, as new construction continues, there are ironically enough, the one area where there's been relatively low technological advancement is the actual construction materials, right? We've been essentially building homes the same way for the last 200 years. That's actually part of the solution that should be being talked about to try to build at a lower cost.
Well, I believe too also that the smaller footprints, I love having a smaller footprint. I mean, it was nice when we had the giant house, and it was very, very, I'm so grateful to have that experience. But frankly, and here's something to keep in mind, you guys, young people, you're out there and you think you want to have those big 4 or 5 thousand square foot homes. Not only are they expensive to heat and run and do all of these things, but the upkeep, the taxes, all of the overhead, as Brock,
Yeah.
the term carrying costs. I learned that one from you, man. When we had 3 mortgages going on at the same time, it was like carrying costs. What?
Yeah.
Okay, I got to ask you that question here because if people are getting ready to buy, sell, do whatever, they got to understand that this is part of the game of the strategy. What is carrying costs? What are people? Why do people want to make sure that they minimize that? Because I just asked you about first time buyers, and you said 3.5%, which I think is very very doable. What about carrying costs?
Well, so here's how I think about carrying costs. So like the way I look at life is it costs a certain amount of money to have a place to lay your head every night, right? You've got the payment, you've got the utility costs, you've got cable, you've got internet, you've got whatever you're spending to like live, right? And my general school of thought is I want to minimize that cost into something that's very easily attainable based on my income level, right? I'm not trying to live all the way up to the top of my means. So it's just like a car. Like I look at driving a car as like, what is the minimum amount I have to spend on an automobile to have a be good for my life, right? I don't need a $100,000 car, right? Fundamentally speaking, it doesn't drastically change the enjoyment of driving to and from work, right? So I look at life that way. Now, in terms of if you own multiple residences, each residence along with utilities carries a certain amount of money that it costs to own and have that property. And especially as you get older in life, and especially if you've achieved a certain amount of financial status, let's say you got a primary home and then a vacation home and then maybe another home, it can be really expensive and it can be very time consuming to maintain those properties.
And that's the whole point of the carrying cost. Brock, I need about a 30-second takeaway from this first episode of 2025 for you. Can you give me a 30-second takeaway, please?
Yeah. So I'm just going to give you something to think about. Um, there's no magic bullet to solving the issue of interest rates and supply. If you have a need to move, death, divorce, new job, new career, whatever, if your life circumstances dictate you need to move, do it in 2025.
There you go. Thank you again to Brock Fletcher, Sandy, Craig. We'll talk to everybody next weekend. Have a great week. Remember, always, always, always remember before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. I want to thank our production staff, Mitch Anderson and Vanessa. Tom Matt Show's production of Boomers Rock Media. We want to bring your story to life. Thank you again to Brock Fletcher. Give him a call, 517-303-3262. You've been listening to The Tom Matt Show. We're out. How many times can I say how much I like Brock Fletcher? Guy's amazing. He's a great friend. He's a great sponsor, and he's loyal to the bone. I mean, he's the kind of guy who says, "Go ahead and raise my rates for his sponsorship." And I said, "No, I'm not doing it." Even though we could use the extra revenue to help pay our people. can't do it because sometimes in life you got to make choices. And I make this choice. And I've decided myself that, you know what, we're good. You've been loyal to me for years, and that's the way it works. And that's what this show's all about, loyalty and people. I'm Papa Tom, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you so much for doing everything you do. Holidays are coming, and, maybe you're going to pick up this podcast in 2 years, and the holidays will be down the road. Anyways, have a great day. Peace out. Love y'all. Thank you so much.